Stories of undeveloped spirits. Somewhere in our records is the statement, "The way is long and the road a weary one for those who have not learned their lessons on earth." In later months this truth has been especially emphasized through both Sissa's pencil and my own. Many stories of the difficulties encountered, and of the time wasted in overcoming them, have been related by various souls who have been brought to us. Little do most people here realize the conditions that will confront them as they enter the spirit world, the time that will be wasted by most because they are so material-minded as to be unimpressed by spirit influence, the bewilderment that will cloud the path of many because they have no understanding of the use of spirit faculties, and so are hindered in their advancement by the dazed and incorrect impressions of sight and hearing, the miseries that will be the lot of some because of fixed but erroneous ideas of what heaven is like, which may cause them to wander long in darkness, while the number who cannot realize that they have even left the earth life at all is so great as to be appalling to one who is ignorant of conditions on the other side. Only a few, it seems, are at all prepared to understand what the life there means, and only the occasional one enters quickly into the joys of the spirit world. As the reader may learn in our previous volume, Spirit World and Spirit Life, no one passes into spirit life with consciousness at every moment of the change. Most are unconscious for some time, partly because of weakened vitality from sickness, but frequently from inability to use spirit perceptions. This period of unconsciousness varies from a few hours or a few days for the most fortunate, up to weeks and months and even years for one who may be selfish and materialistic. And after the awakening, what? In the following pages we will let some who have passed through these experiences tell their own stories. If the perusal of these statements, and of others that follow, does not suggest to the reader the importance of acquiring a knowledge in this life of some of the requirements for spiritual advancement, this book is failing in its mission. Not that it is claimed that all should try to become spiritualistic mediums, or spiritualists, or even attend seances. But it is insisted that all should familiarize themselves with two facts, that there is a future life, and that they will have to perceive and understand this future life by other than their present material senses. For, strangely, this knowledge seems to be possessed by an almost unbelievably small number. Added to these two facts is a third one that ordinarily should need no emphasis, it should be self-evident. This is that right living, a life of unselfishness, is necessary for spiritual advancement both in the mortal and in the spirit life. We have been so impressed with the importance of this phase of the subject that I am including at considerable length quite a number of illustrations. Where names are given, I have for several reasons used other than the correct ones, and in some places the matter has been condensed. We have sometimes used the Ouija board a few minutes before Sis began any automatic writing, as it seemed an aid in inducing passivity. One evening our friend seemed to have been waiting for us, for the little triangle began to move at once, spelling out the question.
Who moves this?
Is it not Mary?
No.
Who is it?
First cousin from David Fuller.
This sounded like an attempt at being facetious, but I replied. I don't remember any David Fuller. But the name called to my mind the marriage of a relative when I was a small boy, and I added. I knew a David Walker who married a Fuller.
Yes.
Are you he?
Yes.
Dr. Walker.
I am Dr. Walker.
Well, this is a surprise. I was much puzzled. My father and Dr. Walker had both passed over more than 20 years before. I asked if he had seen my father.
I hardly get any news.
I began to have a suspicion that he did not realize where he was, or what had happened to him. But I hesitated to say anything that would indicate that I thought this, for I also feared that it might be a sort of joke that was being tried on us by some malicious spirit. I asked. Where are you?
I am in a place I do not know.
Sis took the pencil here, and Mary wrote.
He has not developed far, for he was not advanced when he came to this side. He is not a stranger to us, though we have only now learned his acquaintance with you. He hardly realizes that he has passed over. He knows he is not at his home on earth, and he wonders about his conditions here. He was not a bad man, just indifferent toward all spiritual things, and thought that death ended all. He would have liked to have you place him, tell him where he is and how he came here, for he is in the condition of one who has partly lost his mind. The earthly brain gone, and the spirit force not yet in control.
I got the impression that he does not really know he has passed into another world.
No, he is really in a pitiful state, and we wish to bring him out of it. We think you can help.
Tell me what to do.
When he comes again, try to tell something about his earlier life, something that will strengthen his memory of the past. Through that memory, we may bring him to realize his sickness and his death and his coming into this life.
We had heard of cases somewhat like this, and we talked this one over at the time. But it had mostly dropped from our minds when some 2 weeks later it was brought to the fore again in a way that made a great impression on us. The record makes strange reading. But all thought of him was far removed when we took up Ouija.
We are wishing to tell you of a man who wishes to write.
After some difficulty they managed to partially spell the name Walker, and I asked if he were there.
Yes?
I said to him, "You have been away from home some time. Do you remember being sick?
Yes?
Do you know what happened?
I do not remember.
What happens when people do not get well? You have had such cases in your practice.
They died?
Had you thought that your sickness might have ended that way?
That is not true.
What makes you think it is not true?
I am alive.
Yes, but you are living under different conditions, are you not?
Rather.
If you believe that you are alive, try to comprehend that there is a great future before you. That will help you to move forward into better conditions."
That is a new idea.
Then after a short wait he asked,
Am I dead?
"Yes, what you think of as dead, that is, your body is dead." He seemed to ponder over this a little, then asked again,
I am asking if I am dead.
"Do you not think it might be true? Are you not different from what you were?
I am surprised.
Have you not wondered where you were?
I did not know. Can you tell me where I am?
In the spirit world, a certain portion of it, at least. You will see more of it after a while." Again there was a little wait, then.
Are you dead?
"No, I am still on Earth." "Can you tell us what your surroundings are like where you are now?
Something like the earth.
Do you not move faster?
No,
Perhaps you have not yet learned.
I have learned nothing.
Do you see others about you?
Yes?
If you will tell them what you want, I am sure they will help you."
How shall I talk to them?
"I hardly know how to tell you. Perhaps if you think strongly what you wish, you will understand their reply."
Are they dead?
"Yes, and they wish to help you."
I am not sure I am dead.
I explained that I could not see him.
No, that cannot be true.
"Can you see me?
Yes, I see you as a shadow.
Do I look as people did on Earth?"
No,
"That is because you have left the Earth."
are you sure?
"Yes, quite sure." "Do you see a beautiful lady near you?"
Yes?
"Well, she will help you to understand about the things that puzzle you."
No, I am not dead.
"Mary, what shall I say to him? I am at my wit's end."
I hardly know myself, but he will understand soon.
It seems almost unbelievable. We are told that each goes to his own place. But he seems to have no place.
No, not a place.
It is so strange. Does it seem so to you, or do you have many such?
We see many, but the pity of it grows.
Where were his spirit guardians?
He would not listen. His own preconceived ideas were too strong. His spirit friends were powerless. Just as we are powerless, oftentimes, to send warning or blessing to the earth friends we love so well.
But he has not been on Earth for a long time.
Just the same. His mortal beliefs were stronger than any influence from here.
He was not brought to us again, but we have been told that he was much impressed by the experience. He had accepted the fact that he was in the spirit world, and was slowly acquiring his spirit powers. At another time the pencil wrote,
We have many who need help, and we will bring some of them to you if you are willing to try.
We will gladly do what we can.
Apparently 2 earthbound souls were brought at once, for the pencil soon wrote,
We are here. What can you tell us? We are 2 po-humans who are confined in darkness and distress. Can you help us?
How long have you been there?
I forget. It is all a blank.
How did you come to the place where you are?
We do not know. We found ourselves here and do not know who brought us.
Is it at all like the earth?
No, we never saw anything so unlovely.
Has it occurred to you that you have left the earth?
No, We have never left the earth, but we do not know where we are.
Has anyone ever told you that you have left the earth and are what the world calls dead?
No, not anyone that we believed.
It is true, nevertheless, and you are now in the spirit world.
No, we are not there. The spirit world is bright and this is dark.
It seems dark to you because you have not developed your spirit sight. You must study for that.
Who could teach us?
Some of those about you.
No, we can see as well as they.
What do you remember of your earth life?
We had a home, children, friends. Here we have no one.
Why did you leave your home and children?
We did not leave. We awoke and found ourselves here.
What put you to sleep?
We do not know.
I am trying to tell you that you have passed through the sleep called death, and are in the spirit life.
What are you telling us? That cannot be.
Would you like to have your sight cleared so that you can understand?
Yes, if true.
We know that you can come into spirit sight.
We will try. What shall we do?
We think Mary can help you.
Mary, where is she?
We asked Mary if she was there.
Yes, and near them, but they cannot see us.
Can they hear you?
We will try.
After a moment she wrote.
Mary thinks they hear a little.
Then we asked the unfortunates.
Did you hear a sound?
Yes, a little. Who was it?
That was Mary. I am sure you can learn to hear if you will try.
We will try. Tell us how.
Listen now. Mary will try again. Did you hear this time?
A little. I believe you tell the truth.
Can you see them?
Not at all.
You can learn.
We don't know. How do you know?
Is there anyone near you?
There is a shadowy form. What is it?
I think it is Mary. Will you try again?
We will try anything to get out of this.
Listen again.
We hear a faint musical sound. Is that our hearing coming to us?
I am sure it is.
We heard a word then. It was love. Was that right?
Mary, did they hear aright?
Yes, love was the word.
We then asked the others.
Now do you believe you can get the rest?
We believe we can. And it is the first ray of light and hope that has penetrated this darkness. We will come again if we can find you.
We will ask Mary to bring you.
Will she? We will come if she will help.
We asked if Dee had been present.
Yes, and listening and watching. It is wonderful how these earthbound souls need friends. With all our love and all our endeavor, we have been unable to pierce the darkness of their still earthly perceptions.
Do you know anything about these two?
We think they have been here some months, perhaps years. We have no means of knowing as they have no perception of time. They were brought to us by another circle.
The next one proved to be an old-time acquaintance of Sissa's.
There is one you have known who has come to us for help. He is not sure of himself, hardly knows himself as spirit, yet feels the difference from mortal life. What can you say to him?
You say it is someone I have known?
Yes, and someone whom you can influence.
Has he lately passed over?
Not long since, but he feels himself unable to progress without help. He never thought of life here in the way he finds it, and does not know how to adapt himself to conditions.
Can you tell me his earth name?
No, but he came from a place that you lived in for a while, not your hometown.
Can he talk to me?
We will try. He says you were more advanced than he, and he thought you in the wrong, and now he wonders if you were right. He believed in the creed of the church, heaven, hell, day of judgment, golden streets, or their similarity, and has not found these things here, and he wonders if this can be heaven after all.
Does he not find it more beautiful?
In a way. But not so symbolical, perhaps, not so unreal to mortal thought. Tell him what you have learned of spirit life. He can hear you, we think, but we can only tell by his replies. He says he learned to sing under your training.
Sis mentioned several places, and after one of them she was told.
Yes, that is it.
Could he tell me his name?
I took the pencil, because at times I could get them better than Sis. This time I did not succeed very well, My pencil wrote a name that suggested that of an old acquaintance, although there was only one syllable right. The name suggested proved to be correct. She asked him.
Can you hear Mary?
A little, but not as well as you.
You are still held by your old earthly ideas and sensations, it seems. You have not gained your spirit powers.
Well, that is it, then, and it makes it seem as if I were in a strange country and without a guide.
How much can you see?
Not a great deal. But it looks more like the earth than like the heaven I always imagined.
You will find as you advance in your spirit powers that you will see much beauty.
They tell me so, but how do you know?
I have always had that idea, and from what we are told, it seems that I was right. Did you like to study while here?
Not much. I was dull, I am afraid.
You will find by study that heaven is very beautiful.
Mary tries to tell me, but I cannot understand.
Was the earth as fine as you would have liked?
No,
Was your home and surroundings all you could imagine?
no,
Well, by study you will learn that you can have everything as fine as you wish. Is not that worth working for?
yes, of course,
You have heard of the many mansions in heaven?
yes, but I never dreamed of their being real. Mary brings me to you to learn of the place I am in. How strange. It seems as if I ought to be telling you.
You will know all about it if you will study.
How shall I begin?
It is a little hard to tell you, but you must first learn to use your spirit sight and hearing.
But how can I learn?
Can you hear Mary?
Yes, a little. Yes, I heard her. She asked me if I could see her. I could see a shadow, and the shadow spoke.
Then apparently Mary spoke to him again.
Yes, she says I can learn both to hear and to see. Do you think so?
This was written with much excitement. We assured him it was true.
Well, I will surely try. Is this my first lesson?
Mary thinks he will develop fast now.
Well, I heard more clearly then, and begin to think you are right. When are you coming here?
After he had gone, we asked Mary how it was that he could hear us and not hear her.
That is because he is still in the mortal vibrations, and memories of earth life are more powerful than the unused spirit faculties.
Again one was brought who claimed to know Sis, but she never learned his name.
There is one here who says he knew you long ago. He is troubled and doubting his own identity, and we have brought him here to you.
Can he hear?
Yes, your voice better than ours. Ask him a question.
Do you know where you lived?
No, I forgot. I was very sick and they moved me to this place when I was asleep.
Can you see anyone around you?
Not well. I must have lost my eyesight when sick.
Do you remember what happened when you were sick?
No, except medicine, doctors, nurses, and now and then friends to see me.
Do you know where I lived?
Yes, you lived in a place not far from where I was. I was not at home, I remember that now.
Are you John Romley?
No. I knew him though.
Did you know he is near you?
No. Is he here?
He was ill and died in a hospital.
No, he is alive, for I have seen him.
Perhaps, but John has passed through that which we call death. I suspect you have done the same, and do not realize that instead of dying, you are still alive.
No, I don't see how that can be. This is not heaven, and it isn't hell, and there are no other places for the soul to go.
If with your eyes bandaged someone had led you to another place, would you have believed all was light when you thought at night?
No. But I would have torn the bandage off.
You are now blinded by the bandages of your earthly memories and do not know of the light about you yet.
What do you mean?
I mean that you should tear off those earthly bandages and learn to use your new senses.
My senses. What are they?
Spirit sight and spirit hearing. Have you these?
Not much of either. I am nearly blind and deaf. What can I do?
Are you willing to try to learn?
Yes. Tell me what to do.
We have a good friend there whose name is Mary. She is near you. Can you see her?
No.
Can you hear her?
No, I think not.
She brought you to me.
Mary. Who is she?
Mary, can you speak to him?
Yes, I will try.
Did you hear anything?
Nothing but a whisper without any words.
Well, that is a beginning. Try again.
Yes, I heard a little sound then.
Keep listening and you will soon hear.
Is that true, that I am to listen and hear?
Yes, you will soon learn and will acquire wonderful powers.
Yes. Yes. I hope that is true. Help me. Help me. If you can.
Listen again.
I heard her. She said I was in heaven. Is that true?
You are in a part of heaven that is near earth.
That is true, you think?
I am sure of it.
Ask Mary, as you call her, to try again. I believe I can learn to hear.
Mary, did you hear what he said?
Yes, I will ask his name.
She asks my name. I can't find it. What shall I do?
Don't worry. You will soon find it.
Will she stay with me and help me?
Mary, what shall I tell him?
Tell him I, or some other friend, will be with him every minute until he becomes conscious of his own life and his own spirit powers.
This was repeated to him.
Well, I am so glad. I cannot tell you how glad. It is like waking from a nightmare.
Mary, what happened to him?
We have not heard his life history, but we think it is only a case of indifference toward all things spiritual, and possibly a little contempt for the weakness of so-called Christians in spending so much time in preaching and praying and psalm singing.
Still another one who had known Sis was brought to us.
We wish to have you take a few words from someone here. We will write for him. He says he knew you long ago when you were in another town.
Sis finally guessed the place.
Yes, that is the one. We think your teacher is here and remembers you. He says you studied with him.
Well. It seems strange that he should remember me.
His memory is very clear. He died apparently in good health in the midst of plans for the future. He had never given much thought to this life, and the change was difficult for him to make. He was rebellious at first and unhappy. But his guides were patient and have brought him into an understanding of this life. He was not unconscious long, and awakened to find his past had slipped away from him, and his future a shadowy unknown. We have many such. But his mind, his mortal mind, was so vigorous that he could the less easily comprehend a condition in which the mortal mind was of no avail. He commenced as a little child might do, and has had a long time in initiation. But he has come into the light at last.
If the mortal mind failed, I should think the memory would go too.
No, not necessarily. The memory is a spirit power and is usually more keen in this life than in the other.
What is his occupation?
He has not been here in his spirit perception long enough to be brought into that for which he will be most fitted, but he gravitates toward music, and we think that will enter largely into his work.
How did he come to know you and to remember me?
We are communicating with mortals, and that was his great desire. He has been in the circle repeatedly, and at last recognized you as a former pupil.
Is there anything he wishes to say?
Not much, we think, because he does not yet fully grasp conditions here. But he was much pleased to know of someone who was sending words across what to him is the shadow land of death. He will become more and more satisfied with this life and will be happy beyond his present power of belief. Have you a word to say to him?
Tell him I am longing for the happiness there.
We have told him and he is surprised. He cannot understand that attitude, for the earth life still weaves a strong attraction about him.
I remember him as one who might have had much human pleasure.
We think that is true. And his lack of comprehension, his lack of looking forward to this life while on earth, is a hindrance now. But he has made a great advance from his first dismal impressions, and will surely come into the light before long.
Among the many who have been brought to us was one who, we were told, went to that side far back in the last century. I seem to get the impression of 1840 or 1850. Mary said.
He wishes to know how many people there are in the United States now.
There are about 110 million now. I suppose they scarcely numbered 40 million then, possibly less?
He says he thinks that was about the number. Will you tell him what has happened to the city of Morningside?
Morningside?
Yes.
Near New York City?
Yes.
It was out from the city some ways then, was it not?
Yes, it was some distance from New York.
Well, New York has some 7 million people now, and extends miles beyond Morningside, and crowded with immense apartment houses nearly all the way.
What must life be like?
I described the subway jam of late afternoons.
Well, life has not improved in some ways, it seems to me. We thought New York a great city. Some of us thought it too big. What must it be now? I remember that most of the business was down toward the Battery.
Was Fifth Avenue prominent then?
Yes, Fifth Avenue was the street of fashion.
Do you remember how far it extended?
Not exactly, but not very far. It seems to me that the streets numbered up to 50 or 60. Morningside was a town where some of the merchants resided, and I was one of the number. I conducted a business on Broadway, just a small business, but it seemed very important to me then. We went to our business by carriage, and only in the last few years of my life were there streetcars.
Not out to Morningside?
No, just in the main part of the city of New York.
I spoke further of the terrible congestion.
Perhaps it is as well that I have no need to be there.
So heaven is not crowded like that?
I haven't found it so yet.
You are still on the lower plane?
Yes, I am trying to find out what there is for me to do here. It is only a short time since I realized that I had died. I was not unconscious for very long, but all these years I have been trying to find out why I could not locate my people and my friends. It seems now like a dream, but as I passed through it, it was very real, and I suffered loneliness and despair all that time.
Have you any idea why you were in that condition so long?
I never gave a thought to the future life while I was on Earth. I don't know that I denied such an existence, but it gave me no concern. My life was filled with the affairs of the moment. I was in comfortable circumstances and had no especial cares. When I ceased the mortal existence, I had nothing to take its place. I could not understand what had happened. I seemed to be lost and could find no one to help me. I know now, of course, that many were trying to help me, but none of their influence could penetrate the shell of material thought that still confined me.
I wish people could understand that condition and its cause.
Yes, do spread the knowledge that you are acquiring. You can be the means of helping one soul to avoid the agony and terror through which I passed. Your efforts will be well worthwhile.
When you were on Earth, what did you think when a friend passed away?
I don't believe I thought at all.
Did you have a family?
Yes, and most of them are here. Some of them have been awaiting my recovery for many years. Some of them are passing through experience is more or less similar to mine.
What did you do all these years?
I hardly know now how I did occupy my time. I realize now that only a part of me was alive, only a very small part. But that part seemed to feel the awful terrors and agonies as much or even more than any complete earthly personality could do.
Can you tell us more about it so we can tell others?
I ought to be able to do so, for even now the memories are terrible. I seemed to be in an unknown country, alone, and at all time filled with a terror that dangers lurked all about me. What these dangers were I could not have told, but I seemed striving all the time to escape them, and yet knew no place to go. I felt that everyone had deserted me. I was filled with hate that they could so treat me. Any thought aside from those of fear was mostly one of some plan of revenge on those whom I believe must be responsible for my situation. It was a long nightmare of dread and hate. I don't think a material body could have long survived such tortures. After what seemed ages, I began to hear something like musical sounds, and these began to have a quieting effect. Later I began to sense that there were other beings about me, and eventually I acquired my spirit powers, and am now beginning to understand some of the great glories of the life here that I have been so long in comprehending. Do spread the word. Make people understand what even mere apathy concerning the future may cause. Thank you for this opportunity to write.
The above writer says he realizes now that only a part of him was alive. Undoubtedly this is true. Nearly all such cases evidence a dazed and bewildered condition in which the powers of reasoning are so deadened as to be almost lost. When they are brought to us, the influence from an earthly personality seems to release their spirit powers in some way. It could almost be said that the doors of the prison in which they have been confined were thrown open by touching a spring that only an influence from earth could reach. The two incidents following illustrate this vividly.
We have here in the circle a man who has had much trouble in realizing that he has left the earth life. He was a thinker on religious subjects, but had reasoned things out according to his own satisfaction, and now cannot find conditions that correspond to his conclusions, and he cannot understand what has happened. He can both see and hear a little, but he thinks he is still among earth people, and among those who scoff at his ideas. So he will not listen to them. He has a few friends who have formed somewhat similar opinions, and they feel that they are a little party of apostles who are persecuted by infidels, or something like that. They do not realize that they do not have their physical bodies and material brains.
Can we talk with them?
We wish you would try. We think he will listen to you because no one has spoken to them from Earth, and it may be that an Earth spirit can have more influence than we. We will bring him to you.
Then, after a moment,
We have told him that a friend wishes to talk with him.
I said to him that I understood that he felt that he was lost.
Yes. I do not understand what has happened. I have missed my old friends for some time, and I do not know where I am. I was ill and fell asleep and must have wandered away from home.
Do you know how long you were ill?
No. It seems to me a long time, but I do not remember. I thought I was very ill.
Had you thought that your illness might have led to death, and that your falling asleep was the passing?
No, I had not thought of that. I wonder if that can be true.
I think it is.
Well, I cannot understand it. I thought the life of the spirit was one of happiness and glory, but I have found nothing like that.
I think if you will cultivate your powers of sight and hearing, you will find some of the happiness and glory.
I wonder. You have given me an idea. I am alone here now, but have several companions part of the time.
Can you see anyone about you now?
Yes, there seem to be other beings of some kind.
Listen carefully and see if you cannot hear one of them talk to you.
There was a slight pause.
Yes, one of them has just spoken, and he says you are telling me the truth.
Yes, I am sure I am telling you the truth.
Well. I wonder if that can be. You have given me the first understanding I have had of what might be the explanation of my plight. I had felt all the time that I had somehow wandered into a strange country and among unfriendly people. I could make no one understand what had happened to me, or where my home was. I did find a few who seemed to be lost in the same way, and we have tried to comfort each other, and have been waiting and searching for something that would give us some clue to what had happened.
Then Mary wrote.
We think he will listen to us now, and if he does, we can of course soon explain it all. We think just that hint was all that was necessary. We have tried to tell them these same things, but our influence seemed unavailing. It seems to be that the vibrations from one on Earth are more penetrating, have a more convincing quality somehow. There may be an accurate explanation, but we have not learned just what it is. Some of the others you found more difficulty in impressing. This time, for some reason, it seemed very easy. Possibly just a difference in personality.
And now to close this chapter.
We will bring one to you who is not yet conscious that he has died. He thinks he is lost and wish is to find the way. We will write for him.
I have been sick and wandered away. Why don't my friends find me?
Were you sick at your own home?
No, I was ill in a hospital, but I am not there now. I must have lost my mind and wandered away.
Were you not too ill to walk?
I knew I was, but here I am, wandering about without either doctor or nurse. I must get back to the hospital again.
Do you know what happened?
What did happen?
Were you not growing weaker and weaker every day?
Yes, I remember the weakness, but now I have strength to walk. I must be better.
You have strength because you have left that old weak body, and are now spirit with spirit strength.
That cannot be. Oh, that cannot be. I left my friends, my business, my home. I must go back. Which way shall I go?
You cannot go back to your mortal body, but you can develop a wonderful life there.
Mary interposed with.
We are trying to have him listen, but he persists that he must get back to his business and to his home.
Did you have a wife?
No.
A mother?
Yes, she is worrying about me. I must go to her.
She does not worry now, for she knows that you have died and are beyond all earthly worries.
That cannot be true. Where am I?
You are in spirit land and need no longer worry over earthly cares and troubles.
Must I forget my mother and my business?
Forget your business, but remember your mother. Can you see?
Not much.
Can you hear?
I hear you.
Can you see someone near you?
No, I only see a shadow.
Can you talk to him, Mary?
Mary wrote in reply.
He cannot hear me yet.
Try to listen.
I do not understand.
Mary is near you trying to help.
Who is she?
A spirit like yourself. Listen and try to hear what she says.
I hear a faint sound. Is that Mary?
Yes. There are others near you, all trying to help.
I am beginning to hear a little. They say I can soon hear and soon see and soon know there is joy in this life.
Then very slowly the pencil wrote.
I suppose it must be true.
Mary added.
We can take care of him now. When the earth-born spirit can hear and see, no matter how dimly, the worst is over. We can quickly teach him the rest.